Hey folks, how are you? Hope everybody's doing great. Everybody's posting their opening videos, but I need to post my Amius video because I've been a little lazy about doing that. I've been traveling and just busy with work and whatnot, and I really didn't feel like sitting down for the old Amius-aroo. But here it is. Normal, hard video should go up soon. So I don't know. I try to post these whenever I can. I think I've posted them for most rotations and difficulties now. There might be like one or two that I'm missing, but hopefully we'll get to those soon. So Amius, probably the hardest boss in the game. Very annoying, very poorly designed. It just kind of is designed to counter all of the things that you learned throughout your raid career as being, good habits and good, builds and masteries and things like that. It just takes all that nonsense and just throws it out the window and says, you know what? Screw all that other stuff you learned. Here is that. Here is this. Okay, so if you haven't done this, I highly recommend just look through his abilities and passives and everything. I know there is a lot here, but I mean, literally every time I post the video, I get people commenting like very, kind of obvious things about him. Like people are like, this fight is broken. My mythical champs keep changing form. And I'm like, okay, you need to read this because that's just what the boss does. So yeah, definitely do yourself a favor. Go ahead and read through that. Very helpful, even on top of my explanation. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink, etc. So yeah, definitely take a quick peek through that. And this was my team this rotation. I think I maybe used the same team on the last one, but I like this team, so heck, why not? As I've always talked about on these videos, when I make them, I go through and I try to build an accessible team. If I was just doing this for myself and I was never going to show it to anybody else, I would use any number of OP Legos that you can see here. Like, Elytrian Blademaster is amazing in this fight. His debuffs can't be, his buffs can't be removed. Like, it's literally so free, so easy. I've got like Taurus, I've got, tanky people, Stultus, I've got like Freya. There's some very good people here, but as always, just for you guys, we've moved it to the more accessible version just because, showing champs like Elytrian Blademaster is not accessible. It's not fun. So, okay. So Toragi the Froggy, let's just kind of talk about the champions and their functions right here. And as always, it doesn't have to be this exactly. I just kind of want to show you what everything does. And hopefully you can look at your own roster and say, oh, hey, this champ would kind of, work in place of that champ or whatever. As always, I encourage you to use the better champs that you have. There's no need for you to use a worse champ when you could use a better one. So please, by all means, use your better champs. Like I said, this is, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel of what's possible here, I guess. But Toragi has become a favorite of mine in this fight because he has Ally Protect, which is super useful during the Eclipse phase when he does the Ignore Defense ability. It's like Ignore Shield, Ignore Defense. Because with Ally Protect, we can just split the damage with whoever he chooses to target. And, that's basically going to guarantee somebody's survival. So a very nice champion to have. He also has decreased attack. That's nice. You may occasionally throw out a poison here and there with his passive. Super useful champ. Uugo, I tried it with a couple other people. Like I was trying Scylla of the Drakes, and that was definitely like possible, but I just kind of like this better overall. He does have the block buffs, decreased defense. He has heal. He will remove heal reduction. That's nice. He has a little baby cleanse. He'll remove like one debuff. So he's got leech on the A1. So as always, just kind of a solid champion who does a lot of useful things during a boss fight. Rector Drath really never needs any introduction. Super, super good champion at keeping people alive. Heal, continuous heal, perfect veil, healing champions under perfect veil. super, super useful. Decreased attack on the A1. I don't ever have enough accuracy to apply that. You need like 450, so no thank you. And then obviously the revive. Ninja is my main damage dealer. We all got this for free somewhat recently, so I've selected this. I have the incredible 2-star 2-star Brimstone on him. And yeah, Brimstone also very useful in this fight. If you can bring in someone or someone's plural with Brimstone, please do. Will make it so much easier for yourself because it's like a percentage based thing. You know, this dude has 85 trillion billion health, and you know, so like what's a percentage of that? It's a lot of damage, so super useful. And then also, yeah, just the hail burn, the HP burn, that's where it's all coming from. Ghrush the Mangler, I don't know, I kind of like this dude. This is definitely not necessary in any way. There's literally nothing that he does that is necessary. Basically just like say you had these 4 that I already talked about, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and you're just looking for your 5th champ. Just think about it, right? So if you can get any useful buffs or debuffs, go ahead and do that. You know, useful things like healing, additional reviving. Consider the type of champ. Like this is a defense champ. This is a champ who's not just gonna get one-shotted and die. So like you definitely need to have survivable champs in this fight. So yeah, obviously I'm not gonna pick Skrank, which I did try, guys. I tried that. I'm gonna pick Ghrush, and then you know the high-level awakening. That's also useful. I've showed videos of doing this fight with basically no awakenings, so that's definitely not a necessity. But again, read the little mechanics here, so it is helpful to have that. And then he could apply debuffs like decreased attack, decreased crit damage. He can give your team continuous heal. So again, this is kind of just like a, you know, kind of like sneakily useful champ. But again, nothing he does is crucial. You could totally replace that with something better should you have it. All right, so that was the little recap of the fight. As always, we'll do a full recap of the actual run itself. I will tell you why I did everything I did, why I made the decisions that I did. I'll tell you, like, the mistakes I made, because I definitely made some during this run. I basically just woke up first thing in the morning and did it, and that was clearly a mistake in retrospect. But what are you going to do? As always, still won, so definitely just want to show you guys, it doesn't have to be perfect, just you can beat this fight. You can do it. It's all good. So let's discuss. Okay, so kind of the basic overview of the abilities. Hopefully you guys don't get sick of hearing me explain this every time for a year or 2 or however many it is now. All right, basically. So here is our little abilities here. Keep an eye on this. This is how many turns it is until he's going to go into the Eclipse form, which is probably the scarier form of the 2. So keep an eye on that. You definitely want to know when that is going to happen. This ability is an absolutely enormous heal, just massive, very annoying. One of the hardest parts about this fight. This is another very, very obnoxious ability. This ability, he will take all of the debuffs that you put on him, and he will turn them into their corresponding buffs. So like if you have decreased attack on him, he's going to say, you know what? No, we're turning this into increased attack. If you put decreased defense, he's going to turn it into increased defense. If you put black buffs, it's going to be black debuffs. And this is devastating, devastating ability. You really don't want to get things reversed. You want to focus on debuffs that cannot be reversed. For example, HP burn, brimstone. You can't reverse these things. And then yeah, it basically you just have to be incredibly careful about the timing of everything for the entire fight. You have to play around this. And then the A1 is just a big AoE ability capable of doing a lot of damage. All right, so let's see what's happening here. I am just going to open with A1s because like we talked about, you don't want to put those debuffs that can be reversed on him. Like for example, if I had just come in with Uugo and done black buffs, decreased defense, you know, maybe like decreased attack, Toragi, you know, suddenly he's going to have all these amazing buffs. So don't do that. The one I will say though, if you look at my team, my damage is basically exclusively from Hailburn and Brimstone. So there is one buff that I really don't care if he gets, and that is decreased defense. It's actually not a huge deal. Like, this is not like a physical damage based team, so it really doesn't matter. So like, it's fine to use A1 on Ninja. It's fine to get that reversed. Don't worry about it. Toragi, he does have decreased attack on the A1. So definitely be very careful about that. And again, it's slightly luck based. The whole fight, there can be luck at play. Like, if I were to apply that at the wrong time, that could be devastating. Fortunately, I don't believe it happened, but yeah, so just be mindful of everything you're doing. So like I said, I'm just A1ing everything. And then the other reason for doing this is because he's going to use the giant heal. So any damage you do right now is like, this damage doesn't exist anymore. It's going to get healed. So I don't want to lead with the Hailburn, even though I could, because it's just going to get reversed, or I'm sorry, healed. So let's just keep going. A1s, and again, Leech, decreased defense, that's fine. I don't care about these debuffs. You can do what you wish with those. And then, yeah, using the provoke with Toragi, because like I said, I don't want to accidentally apply a decrease attack, which then gets turned into increase attack, because then it's going to make all of his AoE abilities do 55 bajillion damage. So yeah. And then I found that with this particular team, even when I didn't have debuffs, he was leading with the stun debuff reversal. So I was just like, you know what, whatever, let him cook. Let's just let him do what he's doing, and I'll, just work my team around it. So he is going to do that right now. So there you can see he turned the decreased defense into increased defense. Nothing happened with Leech because there's no opposite of Leech. And yeah, that is a giant stun. You would probably need like 500 resistance to resist it. So as you can see, I have not focused on resistance at all on my team. I don't care. I've built my whole team around the fact that we're going to get stunned here, and that's completely fine. It looks like Rector might have resisted it. That's fine. And then, okay, so here I kind of worked on this part for a while, and I decided, even though nobody's really hurt, it's okay. I think it's good to use the heal, because what you're going to do is you're going to give everybody Perfect Veil, which is a 15% damage reduction. So that's really good. So I decided, yes, worth it for the damage reduction. I decided, I did this a million times, and I decided this is making my champions take less damage over time. And then the other thing is, so if this ability has like, kind of like two caveats, right? So if you full heal somebody, it will give them Perfect Veil. But if they're not full healed, she'll give them continuous heal. And the kind of awkward thing about continuous heal is that when he goes into the second phase and he reverses all of your buffs, because, that's the second fun part of the fight, you really don't want to have continuous heal on people. So I'm not a fan of that one. And then the thing is, if they're under Perfect Veil, she'll heal them. But she's healing them without like heal being present, right? So that's really nice. So you're getting the heal without it actually being a present buff on them. So yeah, I don't know. It was working really well for me. So yeah. So yeah, like I said, get everybody under Perfect Veil. That's fine. Everybody gets out a stun. And then now he's used the reverse C ability. So like the fact that I just applied decreased attack, that's actually good, because you want that when he's doing these, these big AoE abilities. So the second he uses that ability, you use whatever the heck you want, you're good. So yeah, look at how few damage we took. Even Ninja, by far my squishiest character, barely took any damage here. And then, yeah, I'm going to use the Maelstrom Whack because, like I said, the reversing is done. I'm not afraid of anything currently for a moment. And then we can see 2 turns till it equips. So now I went ahead with the Hail Burn, get all that applied. We got a Brimstone proc. I'm putting on Decreased Attack. I'm putting on all this stuff because it's, you know, this is when you can use everything freely. Okay. And then, again, we kind of touched on this earlier. Be careful with your continuous heals from Ghrush the Mangler and from Rector, because when you go into the second form, those are getting reversed. They're going to get turned into like 3 turns of heal reduction. Don't want that to happen, so don't use them. And again, you don't even need to use them. Everybody's like full HP, so don't use those. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it in a sec. So yeah, now it's even like you would want to apply Decreased Attack here. And, you know, all these other debuffs. So this is good. Do what you want. That's his A1. AoE A1. Capable of doing a lot of damage. Like if he had increased attack, that would really, really, really hurt your team. So just keep an eye on everything that's happening. Make sure, you know, like honestly, if he gets decreased attack, I would probably restart because everything will do so much more damage and you'll just get behind in keeping yourself healed and yeah, it's all gonna fall apart. Get a little heal off with Uugo. So the Saiyan Slash, it decreases the cooldown of Hail Burn, right? So be careful using it because when a cooldown gets decreased, he can go into Eclipse 1 turn sooner. So the reason I'm using it right now is because he was already going to go into Eclipse. So it was already fine. So just keep an eye on that. And then you also don't want to use that ability during the second form because he will just hit you with the A1 Ignore Defense because that's part of his passive. Again, make sure you read those. Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, watch the CN slash Ghrush, just A1. A1 here. A1 there. Doing that again. All right. So now we are going into our favorite Eclipse form. You can tell because, you know, there was like a giant animation. All the abilities are red. The entire background's red. You know, clearly something is going on here. All right. So what happens here? Maniacal Bedlam. This is a sleep. This cannot be resisted. Don't even bother worrying about it. This is going to happen. Sadness. And yeah, it goes through block debuffs and everything. There's absolutely nothing you can do about this. All right, so that happened. You know, Brimstone's doing its thing. That's nice. Depending, you might like occasionally, like if you use like Chainbreaker or something, you might have somebody be able to like use an ability during that or something because Chainbreaker like kicked in. But yeah, so we're all out of our stun. You know, just keep damaging him, and then the thing to think about during this form is, oh yeah, and then as you can see, you know, he used the second ability. We would have gotten our buffs reversed, but we didn't have any buffs. So perfect. You know, like we set all that up. We purposely didn't have any useful buffs on us that would be reversed. That's why I was telling you guys, you don't want those continuous heals out at the moment. They are bad right now. And then, okay, so in this form, once again, sadly, I know you can just never really have fun. We have to be careful about what we're doing once again because the other form, it's just looming around the corner. So basically this kind of Eclipse form, what he's going to do is he's going to use the Unresistible Sleep. He's going to use the follow-up buff reversing ability and then, you know, big damage on everybody. And then on his next turn, he's going to use his A1. But then after that, he's already going back into the form 1. So basically, right now, you already need to be concerned. You already like can't be applying decreased attack or anything that you are worried about getting reversed because he'll just like insta go back into that form and reverse it. So if you see me not using like my black buffs and decreased defense, that's why I'm not doing that because, you know, sadly, you really don't have time because he's just going to go right back into the other form. So, okay, so now I am going to use the continuous heals with Ghrush the Mangler. Finally, we can do this. I'm going to use the Necromantation on Rector as well. Okay, and then this is a important part. we were talking about. Toragi, go ahead and use the Bog Blessing, which is the ally protect. This is super, super key because whoever he decides to target, I'm going to help them tank the damage and we're not going to die, which is desirable. Do not want to die. So that's big, important ability. So let's keep going, see what happens. A1, War Master Pot, get some of those. Those are nice. Like I said, I'm not worried about decreased defense. That's fine. Our damage isn't coming from that. Just keep those A1s out again. So again, he targeted Ghrush. You can see that Toragi took substantial damage from that, but basically they split the damage and it, you know, it saved his life. It stopped one of them from dying. So that's the power of Ally Protect. I absolutely love it during this fight. I'm using it on most rotations and difficulties at this point. Okay, and then again, I'm scared of applying decreased attack because I know, you know, we have one more turn here. When this turn ends, he's going into other form. So I'm afraid to apply that. So I would like to use the provoke. Oh, actually, wow, I did apply a decreased attack. All right. Well, heck, unlucky. But yeah, I would have preferred not to apply decreased attack, but yeah, life's not perfect. So it's like it's a pretty small chance on his A1, but so yeah, I guess we'll just see how I handled this. Okay, so yeah, sadly he does have 3 turns of, oh, okay, this is all coming back to me now. Okay, yeah, so this is fine. Well, it's kind of not fine. I would have preferred it the other way, but sadly, he does have 3 turns. Increased attack, he does have 3 turns. Increased defense, but the Bog Blessing Ally Protect is back. So that's basically going to make Toragi take all the damage instead of his team. As you can see, Toragi literally died, but my team is completely incredibly healthy. And he's already used both abilities. So honestly, all things considered, this is not really a bad situation at all. I'm just going to start eating everything. Rector can revive Toragi when she gets the chance, and, you know, we're fine, honestly. And I can apply all the decreased attacks and everything that I want. Absolutely no problem at all. I did go ahead and use the continuous heal just because I can see we have 2 turns left, so it's only a little 1-turn continuous heal. It should go away. Most people are under Perfect Veil also, so they didn't get the continuous heal. Like I said, it's okay to use the slash if he already is going to go into the form. And we'll just do exactly what we did before, right? Like, that worked once. We're just going to do it again. Use the Hail Burn whenever you can. Can't do anything about that sleep. See, we got the Chainbreaker proc. So, because he actually... So I, like, kind of interrupted him in the middle of his turn, right? So it's okay to apply the decreased attack because there's an additional turn that otherwise wouldn't have been there because I would have been asleep. So it's okay. And then again, it's okay to start using continuous heals now. Get some leech out, you know, decreased defense, not worried about that. Some more healage. A1s. He targets Ghrush once again. I think I was kind of trolling. I forgot to use the Ally Protect. But fortunately, like I said, you know, it's a tanky champion. He has a good awakening. So fortunately, it really didn't do that much damage. So we're okay. And I think the decreased attack might have also been present. Yeah, the decreased attack was there. So that was also... It stopped me from taking a lot of damage. Okay, and then now once again, we're preparing. We know we're going to go back into the form one after this. So again, you know, try not to apply decreased attack. Try not to do anything crazy. You know, definitely don't put the black buffs on. Just kind of stick to your A1s. Hail Burn is fine. If you use the slash with Ninja during this form, he will use his A1. So you really only have to have that happen to you once to kind of train you not to do that. So yeah, let's just keep going. I'll use the Black Blessing, even though I'm using it a little bit late. It's fine because of all the abilities in this form. It's very helpful. So he reversed the buffs, or the debuffs rather. He's got decreased defense, but again, I don't care. You know, I'm a Hailburn girl. Like, that's where all of our damage is coming from: Hailburn, Brimstone, and like the occasional War Master proc from these supports. Get that Hailburn, Brimstone out again. Get a little Brimstone proc. And then, like I said, it's okay to use the slash because I could see that, you know, we already only have one turn. We're already going into it, so it's fine. Just keep doing your thing. It's okay to apply decreased attacks. Here we are again, unresistible sleep. You know, get some heals on Uugo, make everybody as healthy as possible. It's okay to use continuous heal. Use provoke so you don't apply decreased attack. A1, A1. There's the A1. So I think for the second time, I forgot to use the ally protect. So I'm literally just like hard trolling at this point, right? I did forget to use it, yeah. But again, it's fine. So yeah, again, you can make a mistake. Doesn't have to be perfect. He is getting pretty low. Careful with that. As you hopefully know, he cannot die in this form. He has to die in the form 1. He'll respawn with like a quarter HP or something if you kill him in this form. So like, for example, I would definitely not use Hailburn right now. Do not do that because he will die and then he'll respawn with whatever HP. And that would be undesirable. So don't do that. So just stick to your, you know, your plan. Eye on the prize. Actually, super good that we get the Brimstone proc here because it's just kind of going to guarantee that he is going to die when he uses one of his abilities. So perfect. Good Brimstone proc. Probably just could have outright killed him with the Hailburn if we didn't get the proc. And there you go. That was a fight. Took 417. Definitely wasn't a perfect run. I made several mistakes, but hopefully that just helps show you guys that, like, it's okay to do things like that. It's not that bad. Doesn't have to be perfect. Hopefully the fight isn't as bad as you may have first imagined it. Yeah, like I said, that was completely Hailburn, Brimstone. Having War Master on your supports does help get a little bit of extra damage every now and then. Heal, 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 heal. Basically, everybody is contributing some form of healing, so that's nice. Except for Ninja, that guy's just bad. You know, what are you gonna do? Alright. So let me show you guys the builds. I haven't changed them yet. Oh yeah, and it was the gear removal cost, so that kind of pushed me to do it as well. So let's just take a look at Ninja, star of the team. There he is. This is not the build I usually use on him. Like, obviously, normally it's more of a high attack, high crit damage build. You need 450 accuracy for this fight, so needless to say, that kind of cuts into your stats a little bit. So this is actually a little build that I have put together. How does this work again? It's like filter, fitting room, preset manager. Okay, so it's actually my Skranks build that I am using on him. And then I do go HP, accuracy, and this is also HP. So sadly, you can't have a lot of attack really. So yeah, sadly, you can't have a lot of attack. This is purely ability. This is literally just kind of the Hailburn based build. If you're trying to cram more attack in there or whatever, you're really not prioritizing the right thing. You should be fairly fast for Amius Normal. 230, 240 sounds about right to me. 450 accuracy. Brimstone, super, super amazingly helpful. Please try to get that on somebody. And there you go, my Amius Ninja build. Next person, I think we're all epics from here on out. Mr. Toragi, the number of pluses he has just kind of been increasing as I keep putting out these videos. But I promise you, at some point, we did this with just the regular Toragi. This is actually the build I used to solo the Scarab King with Toragi. So that's actually the build this is. just so happens to work out for this fight because you already need like pretty high accuracy and speed and defense and HP and all of the same things that you need for this fight, actually. So yeah, that is just a Toragi build that I did not change at all. A lot of HP, defense, decent-ish speed, accuracy. I think this is fine. And maybe even a little easier. Like, if you don't have the accuracy. Because, like, if I wasn't randomly placing decreased attack, that I can see how that would be kind of nice. But then again, it's also kind of nice because sometimes you want to place the decreased attack. So, just something to think about. Do you want to place decreased attack or not? Ghrush the Mangler. Like I said, I don't think this champ is super necessary. I do think he's good in this fight. Definitely. This is the build I had on him. And as always, like, you have to have... he's not really there in the accuracy, which isn't really necessary. It's just this ability and the leech. But I guess, I was still placing it sometimes, so I guess it was enough to kind of come in handy. There's the continuous heal ability I'm talking about. Definitely a useful champ. I've used him on this rotation several times by now. And again, when you're building your team, just think about people who aren't going to die. People who can provide a benefit to the team and who are tanky enough to take some hits. So he definitely fulfills that. Rector Drath, this is just such an insanely useful epic. I've always had her in Relentless. I've just kind of been chilling with this build for like a few years now. Haven't really done anything about it. Maybe not the greatest thing ever, but whatever. HP, defense, speed, do your thing. It's a support. This is the Uugo that I was using during that fight. I do have 2 for Hydra. Also a Relentless champ for me because... It's good for Hydra because the cooldown on this ability is kind of poo-poo, so you want to try to make that better. But yeah, like we talked about, degrees defense, leech, remove heal reduction, remove 1 other debuff, and heal. So definitely useful champ, providing a lot in that fight. And my brain kind of died for a sec there, but yeah, apparently that was everybody. Ninja, Ghrush, Rector, Uugo, and Toragi. So there you go. That's the squad. Okay, so there you have it. That was Amius. I went ahead and beat that this morning, and hopefully you can too. As always, if you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to post those, and I'll try to get back to you. And thank you so much for taking the time to check out the video, and you guys have a great day. Goodbye!